Hello and welcome to actually my first show of 2023. So really glad to be back. I consider this a big win to be back in the studio today. I've been preoccupied with taking care of my parents, which was an unexpected event toward the end of last year. And I just have a really big question for you starting out in 2023, something that may have occurred in years past, but do you feel at all like over and over you've almost been there? Like you've set these goals and you know what you want and you have big dreams and you're just almost there, but not feeling like you're quite getting there. And the impact that you want to have in the world, you're not able to quite have. Well, I have a fantastic guest today who's going to talk about that, and I cannot wait to speak with her in just a minute. Your relationship with money matters. I'm Michelle Perkins, and this is the Money and You podcast, where I will be breaking down your relationship with money, offering tough love money tips, and a money dating plan that will focus on lifting the barriers to success to help pave the way for better money practices and increased wealth. It's time to take control to live a limit-free life. It starts today. Felicia Searcy's purpose is her passion to empower you to discover and express your extraordinary life, the one that rockets your impact personally and for others. As the impact multiplier, she has sourced the secrets for living life big, full out, fully connected, fully joyous, fully prosperous. She's a 4-time award-winning transformational coach, international speaker, author, and minister who has helped thousands to create a path for living their dream life. For more than 20 years, Felicia has worked with people from all walks of life who are seeking the spiritual component that accelerates success. As a highly sought-after international speaker, she has shared the stage with powerhouse leaders like international speaker Mary Morrissey, founder and CEO of eWomen Network Sandra Yancey, and international motivational speaker Les Brown. She's been featured on ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox. Felicia's proven dream activation code helps multiply people's results to create a richer, more fulfilling life. Welcome, Felicia.
I'm so happy to be here.
I am so happy that you are here. I said earlier, I've considered it a win just to be here and doing this again. I'm so excited, and I consider it actually a bigger win to have you here with me for this first show of 2023. So thank you for that. And we have so much to talk about today. You know, we have in common the fact that we both love to help people find more fulfilling, fun, and prosperous lives. And you can put that in a nice, simple little phrase like that, but it's a lot more complicated, as you know, and as I know. And so I just love for you to talk a little about how you came to the point of doing what you do.
Yeah. So I, like so many people, did not grow up really believing that prosperity was possible, right? Or that it was for me, especially money. I mean, you know, I grew up in, first of all, it was a very dark environment. Both my parents really struggled with mental illness and addiction. There was a underlying message in our family that poverty equated with nobility. Mm-hmm. It was like the way to God was to be poor. And so that stuff gets wired in. And what got wired in for me was that, number one, the world was not safe. So keep your head down. Number two, don't ask for too much. And number three, you sacrifice yourself at the, for the sake of others, that you take care of others at your mercy. Mm. And life was hard, and life was so hard that I reached a point where I wondered, do I even want to go on? And it was at that desperation point where, you know, that literally do or die, either find a different way, or I'm just going to say, I can't do this anymore. You know, and the cliche of when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And there's a reason why that's a cliche, but I was open and, got introduced to a whole new way of thinking, a whole new way of being, to really come to understand that I didn't have to be defined by my history, that what was given me was not in fact truth. It was their reality, but it wasn't really the way that we were meant to live. And so I discovered a whole new relationship with this infinite intelligence, discovered that there really is a system by which we create our results, that there are immutable laws that govern our results. I poured everything into learning this and unlocking its power and unlocking my power. And it was like I walked out of the basement of myself into a technicolor world. And when I saw that it wasn't, luck or special dispensation or chosen, that it truly is a system that any of us could learn, I've gotten on fire. I am on fire with helping people understand who they really are and the life that they're meant to live, and the gift that we've been given, that there truly is a system for transformation. There truly is a system to create our results. So this is how I got into it.
I love that. And it's something that I think, I can hear your passion for it, because once you discover something like that, you can't help it. You just want other people to understand it as well and to enjoy the benefits of it. And so when you work with people on this and you introduce them to this system, are they open-minded from the get-go? Can you take people who maybe, are a little skeptical and show them the way that you have learned to understand it?
Yeah, and this working with the people that you work with, Michelle, right? That there are degrees of readiness, right? And if somebody comes to you and they are just insistent that money is not meant for them, this is how much they got coming in, this is all they're going to be able to do, there's not a lot that you can do, right? Except hold the space and plant seeds. Right. And so typically when people come to me, they've tried other things, they have an awareness of things like affirmations or vision boards, and what many people distill down these laws into the law of attraction. And they'll say, I believe that, I know that. But what they haven't done is learn how to translate it, understand it to the point where they can actually translate it consistently in their lives. Bob Proctor, who's somebody that I've studied with personally, no longer on this side of things, used to say that, you have superior knowledge with inferior results. And not that people's results are inferior. I mean, as you're watching this, you probably have amazing results. And there's a desire for you, tapping at the door of your heart, for you to step into more. And so it's not a matter that it's wrong or broken. It's a matter of understanding that we are living, growing, evolving beings. And this infinite intelligence is always knocking at the door of our heart, asking us to allow more in order to be able to discover more of who we are. So in answer to your question, yes, I think there needs to be a state of readiness and it's okay to have disbelief. In fact, there's going to be an element of disbelief, and to be willing to challenge and stare down that disbelief to be able to create the thing that you say you really want to create.
Right. And I think that process of shifting your beliefs is one of the most amazing things to experience, because once you learn that you can do that, then the world really opens. So, people go into things, money is a great example, where people go in with very locked down beliefs around what's possible for them, how money should be, related to, and things like that. And then when they start realizing that all of that can just fall away and you can have a clean slate and start fresh, it's wonderful. It becomes a creative process then. So,
well, that's it, right?
Yeah.
And the thing that I've come to realize is that people want something different, right? They want to want that.
Yeah.
But without having something clear and specific, and the way that I phrase it, that's absent an intelligent design, people keep reverting to the default. So then the question becomes, what's the intelligent design? Well, the intelligent design is your dream. It's that thing that you have a burning desire for. You will not do what's required to begin to make those changes in your life unless it's something that you have a burning desire for. And so when you're talking about, you ask the question, are you almost there? Is it like you're living from a state of being almost there. The reason why people live at that state of good enough is good enough, and I'm there, but I'm almost there, but like an almost it, is because people don't really allow themselves to know what it is that they really want. And then if they do discover what it is that they really want, to have a burning desire for it, a burning desire. Because when you have a burning desire, now you're willing to reorganize your life around that burning desire. And that's where the transformation happens, right? It's that you have to be willing to let that be the thing that becomes the organizing principle for your life, which means that there's something else that is no longer that organizing principle. And that's, I talk about a gap. That's that gap that can get really shaky and scary and awkward. And you won't enter into it unless you are on fire for something. And so, one of the first things that we do is really help you get clear. What is it that brings you most alive? What do you have a burning desire for? It takes courage to ask that question. And the question is, what would I love? It takes courage to really sit and be and listen deeply to what is it that you would really love, or more accurately, what does love want to express through you in the form of your dream?
Oh, that's a beautiful way to put it. Yeah, I love that. And I really like what you said. You mentioned good enough. And that comes up a lot with dreams, and it also comes up a lot with money. Isn't it good enough that I can pay my bills and save a little bit and, send my kids to college? But, I feel like this, and this is why I got into this work, because we were talking about dreams and having big dreams and, career and work aspirations. And then it was often money that kind of got in the way, in these ideas about money and the guilt, just like you were talking about with your upbringing, of having more than you can even imagine. And what would you do with that? And people, again, get very uncomfortable, me included, for a long time. And so what would you just say to people about that, okayness around wanting to have more money?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's an important question. And I think that, we need to come back to the foundation. So, when you talk about being uncomfortable, I will never forget the first month I generated that month what I used to do annually. Well, now I've blown that out of the water, and that's consistent. But that first month that I looked at my QuickBooks account and I saw that I actually surpassed what I used to do annually, my insides just got so shaky and scared and nervous, and it just, every part of me got activated. And so part of it is really normalizing it and knowing that this is how you're meant to be. So what do we do? How do we address that part of us that wants to resist the good, especially in the form of money? First of all, understand who you are as this amazing, generative, creative being with the unlimited capacity to create. You have been given this amazing gift to create. Now, the question becomes, so what is that gift? That gift is your ability to create it well through the power of your imagination. That every single one of us has been given this amazing gift of our imagination, where we can begin to dream up new possibilities. Now, imagine a power that would give you that gift and say you have the ability to consciously choose what you run in the movie theater of your mind, according to Joseph Murphy. Consciously choose what you're running in your imagination, and then say, but you can't have it. That's a nasty power. I fired that power a long time ago, right? So understand that we've been given this gift to imagine, and that our imaginative capacity is our creative capacity. That literally becomes the conversation that we're having between us and this field of intelligence, and drawing on quantum physics that are now proving what spiritual masters have talked throughout the ages, that there are waves of unformed energy hanging out in superposition, and that energy is responsive to what we're running in our imagination and actually activating in your feeling state. And you're now transmitting what you believe about life from you. It creates your identity, and it literally transmits what you believe about life and what you can expect from life. And that becomes the organizing principle. Now, why this is important in this conversation around allowing yourself to have more. You are created to evolve. You're created to grow. You're created to discover more of who you are meant to be. The way that we are designed to do that is by having a dream. And as you begin to work toward and build that dream, understand that the true purpose of that dream is to wake you up to more of your magnificence. The purpose is for you to grow. And so when we clamp it down and we say, good enough is good enough, I should just be happy with what I have, and I should be happy with where I am. Effectively, what you're doing is that you're clamping down this generative, creative life force energy that created you and is expressing through you. And you're saying, oop, you know what? I don't want to know this energy anymore. I don't want to know who I am and what I'm really capable of. I don't want to know what more life wants for, through, and from me. And so we're literally putting a cap on this divine energy flowing through us when we say good enough is good enough. When we can begin to shift and understand that it's not a matter of achieving the goal. And by the way, I love my goal. I love my life. I mean, the goals are great. I love the outcomes. I love where we live. I love our friends. I love our financial freedom. I love that I'm able to give tens of thousands of dollars away to charities that are deeply meaningful for me. I love the hundreds of clients that I'm able to work with and thousands that I'm able to speak to over the years, and you know what's happening in the lives of my clients. I love the three-dimensional results, but that's not the purpose for that desire. The purpose of the desire is to wake you up to more of who you are created to be. And when you understand that it's not because you're selfish or you're ungrateful or you're asking for too much, but that you're stepping into this greater version of yourself that the desire is asking you to discover, then you understand that the desire and, you know, for more money is not selfish, that in fact it becomes selfish to not pursue it. You know, and I've got a client who has a certain amount that he wants to generate. And after that amount, he wants to give it all away. He just wants to give it all away. And so think about it. You know, there's several people who talk about good people with good money do good things.
Right.
I mean, imagine the thing that I really got clear on was that I wanted to grow my work because I wanted to make a bigger impact with my work, and I wanted to make a bigger impact with my own personal wealth. And so it's understanding that there is a life force energy seeking to express through you. You're unlocking this power of your creative capacity. It is the mechanism to grow you and for you to discover more of who you are created to be. And as you learn to embrace a greater degree of financial freedom and flow, your life gets better and you're able to support other people in their life getting better. So that's how we overcome that. I should be happy with what I have.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. That was so good. And congratulations on the leaps that you've made. As you were saying that, I was thinking, you know, a lot of times people don't respond by really feeling happy for you that you're doing that. And that's part of the resistance, is like we think people are going to, you know, kind of look at us funny when we're suddenly saying, hey, I made, you know, as much in a month as I did in a year last time. And so I feel like, you know, just collectively, it's really important for us to sort of all get on this page so we can lift everybody else up and be supportive, you know, for people who are seeking that.
God, that's it, Michelle. And especially as women, right? That there's a stewardship, there's an accountability for us that have made strides to share, not to impress. This isn't anything about impressing. It's to impress upon myself and you and all of those that are watching. It's not me, it's a system. And it's a system that's available to all of us. And that when we truly understand that our dream is divinely dropped in, you know, regardless of what it is. Like I have a client who's building an ADU. It's a tiny house
Yeah.
in order to be able to make her home available for people who need a home. And so that's what she's generated money, and she's put it into that, and she's fixing up her home. And whatever it is, it doesn't matter, but it's understanding that that's the mechanism for you to discover more of who you are created to be. And that when you share your success, it's a reverent nod to your level of understanding of the system and to the power moving through you. And so it actually becomes almost arrogant not to, because I know what it is. It's not me. I'm just willing to dig in.
Yeah.
But it's as for you, it's not you. You're just willing to dig in, right?
Yeah.
It's a power and it's a system that we're tapping into.
Right.
That would be like saying, I don't want to tell you I have electricity. I'm too embarrassed to tell you I have electricity, right? Like it's something special. Everybody can get wired in for electricity.
Right.
You're not the house on the block that can't get electricity.
Yeah. 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 And when you say that, it really, I've never thought about it before, but it makes the whole thing seem like we do think it's so much about us. It's almost like, money and our identity are so tied together that, we feel like we want to protect it or we want to keep it from other people or something. I could talk about this all day because I just find it all so fascinating how we are wired with respect to money. Another thing that you were talking about, you really got into the emotional components of this, which is my favorite topic with money, is just, you can know all the practical stuff in the world and you can find that information everywhere. But why aren't we doing it? And it's because it's really all playing out on an emotional level and not an intellectual level. And, I was having a conversation yesterday with my husband, and he tends to go to logic for things. And, we were talking about the whole caregiving that I'm doing for my parents right now. And he was putting all of these logical arguments into things. And it was really driving me crazy because, there are many things that cannot be understood with logic alone. And what you're talking about certainly is, I feel money is as well. But do you want to kind of, how do you sort of cross that bridge and go into that emotional place more easily when your logical mind is telling you some other things?
Oh, yeah. So the logical mind is trained on the past, right? It's the only thing the logic can do. Our logic is a synthesizer. It's not a creator. And so it's synthesizing past experiences, past information. It's synthesizing our history, and most importantly, it's based on your identity. It's based on the way that you see yourself, and understand that we will never outperform the way we see ourselves. When you really come into a deeper knowing of knowing yourself as a creative, generative being, and understand that the first place you start is in your imagination. I always think of the Wright brothers. And one of them had to get on that thing first, right? One of them had to know. And they went back and forth. They used to take turns, and sometimes they crashed. But, there was no evidence that thing would go up and stay in the sky. When you think of all in our history, human innovation, human progress, it's because people were willing to do something before it was proven. Logic has been proven. Your dream, your desire, that longing for something more is this infinite intelligence asking you to open up to a new possibility. And the feeling is scared, and logic. I love the way Jim Carrey puts it. It's fear disguised as practicality.
Oh, interesting.
And I am not saying not to use our logic, but don't serve your logic. Allow your logic to serve the dream. And when you understand the origin of your dream, you understand who you are really created to be, and that you are being asked to discover something that's never been discovered for you before. And it defies logic. And then come to number one, trust the system, trust the laws, and trust the power that's animating you. We do it shaky, we do it wobbly, we do it, doubting, and nevertheless, we do it because you come to realize that there's something bigger at work, at play, than your logic. If we ran the world by logic, we'd still be walking. We'd be walking and going to bed in the light. When Edison first discovered electricity, that people didn't want it.
Yeah.
People were afraid of it. Well, why would I need electricity? I got a kerosene lamp and a paraffin candle. It took years to convince. It took people 5 years to believe that the Wright brothers actually flew.
Wow.
So look at where our logic takes us most of the time.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not dissing logic. We just don't want it to drive the boat.
Right. I agree. I mean, we need it. We need it along with but I think to achieve what you're talking about, you have to go beyond logic for sure.
You have to. And when we really understand the strength and the power of our imagination, and again, go back to what I said earlier, that you've been given this remarkable ability to imagine new possibilities. Mm-hmm. Why would we be given that gift? It's a gift. People often talk about mindset. Well, I encourage you to go way beyond mindset and really embrace this power of our imagination as the remarkable gift that it is. And it is the generative energy. Everything starts in your imagination. Yeah. And so why would you be given this gift if you weren't meant to do something with it?
Yeah, I really love that you brought that up. It's really having me think too, because of course, as we grow up and we get older, our imagination starts to kind of shrink away, unfortunately.
It doesn't shrink away. We push it. We push it underground. Well, and here's the other thing, Michelle. It doesn't go away. Do you have kids?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Quite creative kids too. So yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know how old your kids are, but let's say you got a 16-year-old that's supposed to be home at 11. Yeah. All right.
They're older, but go ahead.
Yeah. So when they were 16 and they were supposed to be home at 11 and, if it ever happened 3:00 in the morning, you better believe you had an active imagination going.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So here's the thing about our imagination. We can never turn it off. It's always at work. The question is that work according to default lines, the way that we've always used our imagination, or are we willing to do what's required to learn how to harness the power of our imagination, to put it in service to something more expansive that's seeking to be known, revealed, and created through us?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, boy, I could go on a lot about that too. That's really interesting because when you were describing that, of course, as a mom, your imagination goes to like a million negative places. And I see that a lot with money. People get their imaginations go wild with fear about, all kinds of potential catastrophes and everything. And not that those things can't happen and, you should be wary. But that is where people go and we don't use our imagination like we used to as children to create like wild, crazy, cool things in our mind.
Yeah, even using the word, you should be wary. Why?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. Sorry.
I'm not saying to go run up a bunch of credit card debts. Like, I want a new car. Felicia said just to imagine it, so I'm going to go put it on a credit card. Right? I am not saying that. What I am saying is that as you begin to work with a new possibility, like, if you're building a business or if you want to grow in your current job and you want to grow your income, begin to imagine it. Mm-hmm. Begin to literally imagine the number in your mind. Begin to see what you would do with that money. You don't want money for the sake of money, just laying around. What are you going to do with it? Oh my God, I would love to expose my kids to history and take them around the country, in an RV and visit every national park. I would love to start a nonprofit. I would love to support my parents or send my parents on a trip or whatever it is, and it's okay. I would love to have an amazing new home. Whatever it is, you want to begin to see it in your imagination and you want to see you in it. Mm-hmm. Now, here's the thing. it goes back to what I said earlier. It's not because it's a matter of you achieving that goal. That desire is going to ask you to discover more of yourself. It's going to ask you to grow into a different version of yourself. I don't know who that is, and you may not know who that is right now, but there's that in you that does. And so when you learn to understand the power of your imagination, and so right now you may have some fear about what's going on in your bank account, and it feels real. And I am not denying the facts, whatever the facts are. I get it. In the 3D world, they're real. But the thing to understand is the power that's moving through you. And when you can begin to imagine a different possibility for yourself, and you begin to see yourself living in that possibility, here's what happens. And this is all part of the formula. You literally start thinking differently. You literally start lighting up different areas of your brain, that you are activating a higher intelligence that's not available to you when you are in fear. Mm-hmm. And here's the thing to know about the universe. The universe is first currency. It's not money, it's ideas. And if you want to change your current situation, you don't need to win the lottery. What you need are ideas and the ability to be able to act on those ideas in a way that allows you to receive the fruits of those ideas. That does not happen when you are working from a place of fear. The only kind of ideas that you can get when you're working from that constriction of fear is constricted ideas. And constricted ideas will not move you forward. But when you really activate the power of your imagination and you cause yourself, I get it, that it's back and forth and it's scary to think about it. And it's the rigor. This is why I work with people the way that I do. The rigor of staying in that imaginative scenario and seeing yourself in it and causing yourself to feel, how does it feel knowing it all works out? Realizing that you have the ability to generate the feelings that match your desired outcome. That's where opportunities lie. That's where ideas lie. That's where your boldness and your confidence lie. And that's where you're going to take action in a way that will actually change your results. There's the system.
I love that. I love that idea of ideas as currency. I always talk about three kinds of currency: money, time, and energy. But the ideas, that's a fabulous addition to that. I love that. There's a couple questions I want to make sure I get to before we run out of time. You talk about the most powerful question people can ask.
Yes.
What would that be?
So the most powerful, potent, holiest of all questions that you can ask, and write it down because you will forget, is, ready, drum roll, what would I love? What would I love? What would I love to do, have, be, give? What would I love? Because you understand that it is the force of love itself seeking to make itself known more to you, through you, and from you. And so when we begin to work with that, and that is such a power, when you're facing a difficulty or a challenge, to cause yourself to take a breath. It's like, okay, I am a creative being. I have the ability to transform this. This is what Michelle and Felicia are saying. And so I'm going to begin this transformation by asking the question, what would I love instead? What would I love? And breathe, because there's going to be a part of you that's going to fight and resist. Well, what do you mean? I mean, look at what's happening. It's like, nope, I'm causing myself to come back to that question and just give yourself an experiment. Play with it for a week. What would I love? What would I love instead? And if this happened, how would I feel, and who would I be, and what action would I take?
That's amazing. Yeah. I hope people are writing that one down. And to be clear, it's not an easy question. It's a simple question, but not an easy one to answer.
No, I find it one of the most difficult questions for people. I mean, myself, I got to keep leaning, and because my life keeps evolving, right?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
There's that. In fact, I just had a client here last week, a VIP client, who started she was like in mid six figures and struggling to pay her bills, so much time, 70, 80 hours a week in her business. And as she began to work with this and really lean in, my God, she's got 3 businesses. She's working 20, 30 hours a week, and she's generating over $2 million annually. Her biggest issue is what to do with the extra money that's coming in. It's her courage to lean into that question when her facts, her logic was telling her, I got no business even touching this question. The transformation happens. It lies in your ability to be in that question and let it inform and form you.
Oh, I love that so much. I'm putting that question on my computer from now on.
Good.
There's one last question I want to ask. Somewhere I remember you saying that you don't necessarily have to have this enormous belief in yourself to go forward.
Yes.
Can you just elaborate on that? Because I think a lot of people find themselves, there.
Yeah. So what I talk about is that it's not necessarily believing in yourself, but you do want to build a bigger believing. So this is what you build a bigger believing in. Number one, you build a bigger believing in the power of these laws, that there truly are immutable laws. Just like we have laws of electricity, we have laws of gravity. There are laws of creation. There are immutable laws that govern our results. Number two, you believe in the power of your dream. You understand that your dream is not yours. You have been given this dream, and there's the dream literally begins to take on a life and a power of its own. And then undergirding all of that, you build a bigger believing in this infinite intelligence, this life force energy that wove you into existence from the very substance of itself, love. You didn't wake yourself up this morning. You can't even take one breath on your own. Something profound saw that you were required, and you're here. And so when you build a bigger believing in those 3 things, the laws, your dream, and this infinite intelligence, then you understand that you're being held and guided and supported and equipped and sourced and resourced. Now you can begin to believe in yourself. You believe, the thing about believing, to believe in about yourself is that you have the capacity to learn these laws, that you are worthy of a dream, and that you are loved beyond measure by this power.
Wow. Okay. Thank you so much. Can you tell people how to find you and get more of this and learn your system?
Yeah. So first of all, my website, FeliciaSearcy.com. And I do have, I have a gift. And this is not just like a perfunctory download or whatever, but I actually put together almost like a mini course, like a whole system. It's my spiritual success system where I walk you through a vision. I give you instructions on how to write that vision. There's a meditation to hear the vision. Then I give you a daily practice. So then you know what to do with that vision. So it's a bit of everything that we talked about in a nutshell. So you go to FeliciaSearcy.com/spiritual success, and you'll get that whole success system toolkit delivered to you.
Thank you so much. That's a fantastic gift. I can't wait to see it. And please, listeners, take advantage of that. That's wonderful. Thank you so very, very much for being here and for providing that to our listeners and for all that you shared today. I know that you're speaking. You're on other podcasts. You're about to go to another podcast right now. So, people can find you out there. And again, you are really a wealth of knowledge and hope, and I'm super excited about what you're doing in the world, and I'm just so pleased that you were able to come here today. Thank you.
Yeah, me too, Michelle. Thank you so much. It's a joy to be your first 2023 and holding you and the whole situation with your parents in prayer.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And listeners, thank you for being here. We love having you. We are here every week, Mondays. UBNGo.com is broadcasting the show, and you can find us on all the podcast platforms, the Limit Free Life YouTube channel. Where else are we? Roku. I don't know. You'll find us out there wherever. And we would love for you to comment on the show, give us a like, and just send me questions. Michelle at limitfreelife.com. We talk about all things money, and that, of course, leaks into every other aspect of your existence. So having another money date course coming up in probably late February. So if you're interested in that, just contact me. And also, I do a yearly planning course with another master coach. We've done this for years now. That will be coming up on February 18th. It's a full day of figuring out your vision and your why and your strategies and your goals and your actions and the whole 9 yards. So it's really fun, though. It also is an emotional kind of a day, as well as getting your plan in place. So thanks so much for being here. We look forward to seeing you next week on the Money and You Show.